Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs that we hate so that we can buy we don't need. Hey there friends, it's Carly. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new here, and welcome to another Coffee and Conversations episode. Today we're talking about a bit more of a serious topic, and that is the rise of consumerism and the development of this entirely new job, which is the influencer. So if that is something you're keen to see, grab yourself a cuppa and let's get into the video. Humans have always been consumers, but before the 20th century, we were much more frugal in our consumption and consumed mostly needs as opposed to wants. And today's society, we've seen a dramatic shift in that. I just did some research and found out that globally we produce over 2 billion tons of waste a year, and half or more of that is actually food waste, which I found very confusing because we need food to survive, so why are we wasting it? But that is like an entirely different topic. Today we're kind of just generally chatting about the rise of consumption. This idea of people being marketed as consumers really came to a head in the US after World War I, when we were exiting the Great Depression and really they needed a bit more of a boom in the economy. We saw a rise in department stores and mail order shopping. Tupperware became a popular thing, and many women who were still at home at this point were having Tupperware parties to sort of create that little bit of a side hustle income for those who wanted to get out into the workforce a little bit and bring in a bit of money into their household. They were able to go around, sell their Tupperware to some friends and have that little bit of extra coin that they could maybe then go and spend on themselves as well. The car company Ford was also very instrumental in developing this idea of weekends, and the idea of that was so that you have your 2 days off and you would take your Ford out and drive around, have some leisure time. You'd be having that downtime, but you would also be using the brand simultaneously. And with the development of our weekends and this idea of leisure becoming more of a thing, because beforehand leisure really wasn't a thing. In some cases we had a 7-day work week, which is intense, and I'm glad that I wasn't around in those times. But with the development of weekends, we had free time and we needed to fill that free time with stuff, and the buying began. In the aftermath of World War II, things became so much cheaper and faster to manufacture, and with that, it became a lot more accessible for people to buy things. This led to the demand of luxury products and mass production. Television was also super instrumental, and it brought consumer culture to the masses and really facilitated this idea of the American dream. It's 2024 and consumption is on the rise, and in many cases a big contributing factor in that has been the rise of the influencer. Now, we may think of influencing as this modern concept, but really it dates back to ancient Romans, where the gladiators were known to recommend different wine and olive oil, and then the first sort of more popularized influencer came in the 18th century, where the Queen of England was gifted a tea set by a porter named Wedgwood and then recommended that to other people. But royalty and celebrity have always carried with them a sense of intrigue and influence. Think about how interested we are in Kate Middleton and the styles that she's wearing at the time. But post World War II is when we really saw the rise of more celebrity endorsement and celebrity influences. One of the first instances of that was the cigarette brand Murad, who hired a well-known comedian at the time to represent their brand. And then we have the introduction of the It Girl, people like Elizabeth Taylor, and then coming into the 80s and 90s, we have singers and models, and they sort of were able to carry with them a lot of style influence. But influencers as we know them today really came on the scene in the early 2000s. The development of YouTube helped to proliferate that, but the main avenue where influencers came into their own was the introduction of the mummy blogger. And I've got to say, as a marketing scheme, it is genius. Think about it. What are you more likely to trust? An advertisement on television from a big brand where some unknown model is wearing or endorsing their products, or seemingly the girl next door, your best friend, someone who uses, loves, and experiences that item and is able to endorse it, a person that you maybe see or hear from on a daily basis. There is such an authenticity and a realness from being recommended or endorsed a product or a brand from someone who is just exactly like you and who you feel like you have gotten to know and gotten to trust their opinion. And I know personally I have fallen victim to unintentional or intentional influencing. I often find myself watching a YouTube video, and even where they're not particularly promoting a certain product or it's not a sponsored post, I might see someone packing for a vacation and they're putting their swimsuits in their suitcase, and all of a sudden I'm triggered to remember, oh, maybe I should look up swimsuits to see what I could buy for this summer. And all of a sudden I'm pausing the YouTube video and I'm picking up an extra tab and going over and perusing through different websites. And I often realize what I'm doing and stop myself, but I don't think that that's the case for everyone. And what they have realized is the time between seeing a product or a brand and actually making the decision to purchase since the development of online influencers and technology has significantly shortened. Back in the day, obviously brick and mortar, you would go into a shop, you would see something, maybe you would go home and think about it, or you'd look in a variety of different shops. Now it is so easy and convenient to go onto a website, see something, put it in your cart, click pay, and it's done and it's arriving at your door. So I know personally, because of that ease and that level of influence and sort of subliminal advertising that is taking place almost like everywhere around us on a daily basis, I have fallen victim to this buyer's remorse and just buying things without putting too much thought into it and not being a conscious consumer. And it's definitely something that I am trying to be more mindful of and trying to be more aware of where things are intentionally or unintentionally influencing me to spend. And I know a lot of the time people will say unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself, but oftentimes for me personally, I'm not unfollowing accounts that make me feel bad about myself, because I don't necessarily look at people and envy what they have or think that what I have and who I am is not good enough. But oftentimes I'm finding myself unfollowing accounts that are excessively consuming and excessively promoting consumerism. The amount of PR mountains and extravagant hauls and sponsored posts happening in almost every video or every photo is just overwhelming, and they're the type of accounts that I really get the ick from and make that choice to unfollow because that's not the lifestyle that I personally want to live. And if you're feeling that way yourself, maybe you want to be a more conscious consumer, or you're trying to be more of a minimalist, or even just save your money, make that decision to investigate what content you are consuming. And anyone that is really promoting that excessive consumption, maybe you need to cut them out. I am a seasonal girly. I love a seasonal decor and romanticizing the seasons as much as anyone, but honestly, the commodification of the seasons has really gotten out of control at this point. I am overwhelmed on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube by the amount of content that is really pushing, you need to decorate for fall, you need to go to Marshalls and Home Goods and Target and 50 billion other places and see what new decor they've got in for the fall season and decorate your entire house. And the stuff that you have last year is fine, you can have some of that, but maybe you want some fresh stuff in there as well. And the truth is, the seasons are beautiful. They deserve to be romanticized, but you don't need to buy things in order to do that. The same with self-care. I feel like self-care and pamper days are often associated these days with going to Target or going to Kmart and buying like 50 billion eye masks and face masks and, you know, all of this, that, and the other product in order to make yourself beautiful. And yes, I feel like, you know, pampering is lovely, but self-care goes so far beyond stuff and products to make you feel beautiful, and it shouldn't need to cost, and it shouldn't need to end up, you know, sacrificing your wallet and the planet in order to do so. In a direct response to all of this has been the development of TikTok trends such as de-influencing and underconsumption core, and I am really here for it. The fact that people have realized that the consumption promoted by influencers has just gotten out of control, and it's in some instances become disgusting, and have kind of revolted against that with this counter trend of de-influencing. You don't need to buy it. Here's your daily reminder that what you have and who you are and what you wear is exactly enough, and you don't need the latest thing, and you don't need it in 5 different colors. And I think sometimes we really do need that reminder. I know personally I do need that reminder sometimes. And the underconsumption core promoting, hey, this is my very small curated collection of makeup or clothes or whatever it may be, and this serves me, and this is enough, and this is purposeful and meaningful to my life, and this is all I need. Maybe this is all you need too. And I really like that message. I feel like it's so beautiful. I'm also here for you know, the minimalist or slow living type content. People like Madison Gray, if you haven't checked out her videos, they are so good. I really love my friend Robin from The Nature Patch as well. While her content is more geared towards gardening and flower farming, there's definitely that element of slow and intentional living and underconsumption sort of running through all of her videos as well. I've also been loving watching Living the Life You Love. She definitely has that ethos of romanticizing life and minimalism, and I feel like consuming that type of content that is inspiring and uplifting is definitely the way I'm choosing to invest my time. I certainly hope that my videos don't come across as promoting excessive consumption. Thinking about the modern influencer, I feel like there is so much power in this role, this job description, if you will. I feel like these days the term influencer has become very synonymous with influencing people to buy and buy into certain ideas, styles, trends, etc. And while that's certainly the case, I feel like if that is all that's being influenced and that is all that's happening in the online community, then we're really missing out on the potential for influencers to make such a bigger and more significant impact on people's lives in a positive way. We could be influenced to be healthier, to look after our mental health, to spend time with friends, to romanticize life, to travel, to smash out our goals, to follow our passions. There are so many things that we could be influenced to do or think that are going to be way more beneficial to our lives overall. And I feel like there needs to be more accountability on the part of the influencers to do that. What are you influencing? How are you being influenced? I like to hope that on some level I am influencing you guys to romanticize your life, to live your best life, to have a clean and tidy home, whatever it may be that I'm influencing you to do or think or be. I hope that it is positive, and I hope that it is benefiting your life in some way, because that's personally my objective, why I create content, to have a positive influence and a positive impact. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and getting on the soapbox with me. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below. I upload new ones every single week. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.